well, yeah, 2 Facebooks, including yours, your YouTube, and I just forgot to click Cosmic Guy Community Channel. So let's just verify that.
I think Penny was asking for.
Perfect.
Wait,
Yeah, it's working. All right, let me mute that over there. I'm glad I quadruple check everything. Okay. I was on with Restream earlier, and I'm like, past couple of weeks, I don't think it properly restreamed over to Facebook. Of course, last week we missed anyway. So, all right, guys. Wow, happy Tuesday again. So, I think we are live there. We're live there, and we, of course, are recording here. We are golden. So awesome, guys. Well, thank you everyone for attending this Tuesday's Coherence Meditation. Today is August 27th, 2024, the end of the month here. Last week, unfortunately, up in the Northeast, Seth had some severe power outage in the entire area. So we had to skip last week. So we are back on it this week here. So if anyone out in YouTube land or Facebook or on our live session here, Zoom, we do restream these over there on YouTube and Facebook. We hold these every single week at 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific time. Our main YouTube channel is over at the Cosmic Gaia Community channel, which is right here. If you want to click that QR code, there you can find all of our live events as well as all of our recordings. We have developed quite the library. And speaking of libraries, we also have that library going up over at I'mAwakeNowWhat.com. And while you're over there, grab Seth's free book in PDF format. And if you want the hard copy, soft cover, I think it's like $7 or $8. Well worth
yeah.
it. It's an awesome book, guys. Awesome. So grab that. And then also, please do register or sign up for that newsletter over there. And that will do it there. I forgot to actually mention for over here. We do hold our live event over here on Zoom. You are more than welcome over here. We would love to have you over here for our live. Doesn't mean you need to show your video or anything. Seth and I will do that. And for that, just go ahead and click on that QR code right there. You can find some other things over there as well. That newsletter, by the way, we are switching over to that one right there. So the format of our weekly coherence meditations, first 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a brief discussion, and we will probably, more often than not, end it prematurely, just kind of let you stay in your deep state of mind, and you can drop off if you so choose to. We do have a treat actually immediately following this Zoom. Seth is on another Zoom with our good friend Laura Eisenhower and his friend Raquel. And what is that? What's the title of that? What are you doing on that one, Seth?
Basically, they're both astrologers and they're both really, really good. And Laura had an idea that the three of us just get together and have these conversations, and that's it. That's what we're going to do. They're the experts, and I'm there just to insert what little bit of wisdom and knowledge that I have. So, but it's
So
fun.
doing the
Always fun.
cosmic readings.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome.
Probably
Awesome.
talking about it,
I
the
should be able to join immediately after this. So maybe this time, do you have a particular start time for that? So we'll only keep this to like maybe
yep,
45 minutes.
1 hour from now. So
Awesome.
it's 6 here, so 7, or that would be what, 4 for you in
Okay.
minutes. Yeah.
Okay. I will post the Zoom link over in our Zoom chat there, guys, and I'll post it over in YouTube as well. So to continue on the quick little intro, and let's close this out. We do encourage everyone to do this as a daily practice. Just take a little time out each day. Last week, as I said, we did skip, unfortunately. The title for 2 weeks ago was Grounding in Quantum Times, and the title for this week is Improvised Meditation. I thought I was going to have a surprise for everyone. I thought I was going to be able to play some audio with some certain frequencies as we do our coherence meditation, but we need to fine tune that. I need to test that maybe by next week. We'll see. But if I don't anyway, these actually I got on Amazon. They're just Bluetooth speakers. I actually connect my phone with Bluetooth here, and I just play some frequencies every Tuesday when we hold these. But these are awesome also because I can put them over to my nightstand on my bed, my bedroom over to my right and left. I have that surround sound type feel, and I can, meditate in my bedroom. So anyways, if you do have a particular topic in mind, do comment below this video over there on social platforms. Feel free to reach out to Seth and we'll put that in queue. We literally have just an abundance, like a limitless number of topics that we can choose. So, it is just really programming the mind or reprogramming so that we can even remember who we are. So, anyway, I think that's just about it. So, guys, get some water and get comfortable, and let's get the show on the road. Off to you, Seth.
Before we start, Greg, thank you as always. I noticed around your neck, the doctor is in the house.
I go shopping with this thing, and everybody calls me doctor.
Do you?
No, I'm kidding. I just happen to have it hanging up over here in my on my microphone here.
Oh my gosh, that's a riot. Let me ask you, for some reason I can't find the comments here.
Did you click the chat button in the Zoom window?
Thought I was. Let me see. I don't see it though. Chat. I see chat preview, but
Yeah, there should be a.
never mind. I got it.
Well, you are on that other laptop of yours, right?
Yep. Yep.
So the other one broke.
Two computers, everybody. Last week, I have two computers just in case something, one of them goes down. Last week, one of them went down and I brought it in to get fixed. And then the morning before yesterday, the other one broke. I'm like, what the heck? Things aren't made the way they used to be. That's for sure. Not that we had a lot of computers back then, but those old pictures of those big computers, my God, they're like the sizes of rooms, right?
Yeah, back in old school days. I was chatting with someone just last night, and we were geek speaking, and I'm like, I ran a couple bulletin board systems back when I was like 15 years old, and geek, like chat boards and everything else, PC board, all that stuff.
Ooh, I'm
Oh
glad you
yeah,
brought that up because I have a friend who studies sacred sites all over the world. He's really passionate about it. Freddie Silva. He's a British guy, actually lives in Portland, Maine. And I mean, I'm talking like an unbelievable body of research of all these sacred sites, all the ley lines that they're on. Like it goes deep, deep, deep. And he shows how there's similarities and connections to all of them. And now what is happening is they're discovering that all of these sacred sites, not all, but most of them are essentially natural. What did you just say? What kind of board? Circuit board.
well,
They're natural circuit boards, mostly made of quartz, which is silica. And when you see how these things set up, and they're showing all of it now, it's mind blowing. They are big, giant circuits that are using the power of the sun, the water underneath the ground, and they are creating sound and frequency. And nobody knows for what exactly. We know that everything is energy, but it makes sense that when you focus that energy, but who's using it? Why? How?
hmm
Because the other thing is a lot of those sacred sites have been covered up and built over and hidden, but in quite a few of them, they put churches over them. And the churches are actually the modern form of what those temples used to be. So that's why so many people have religious experiences, not necessarily like I found God, but they have these experiences in these churches, not all of them, but the ones that are put over these ley lines that are all built with the golden mean ratio. And then everything goes up into those spires at the top. And they've showed that all of these sacred sites have all of those elements exactly like a modern circuit board in a computer. And oh my God, they're basically they're taking frequency sound and they're collecting it. I'm like, it's so liberating to feel.
That reminds me of like Tartaria. They have like the old Tartaria pictures, and they have the churches, with the dome on the top, and then the cross and everything. And they have also pictures that look like printed circuit boards, but etched in, I think, walls or in the ground, or like, that's supposed to be in, helping or conducting electricity. I mean, this goes to like Tartaria and Tesla and all this stuff, but really interesting stuff.
So part of why I bring it up too is because, and I'll ask you, Greg, where do you think this technology is found?
All around us, everywhere. I mean, you can even talk about the Zenic wave. The Zenic wave, above the Earth's crust or the ground.
How about this? How about where it's really found isn't just around us, it is around us. It's in us. It is totally within us. And we are literally these instruments that have the ability to condense frequency in all these different parts of our being. And when we get good at doing that, then we begin to, like you said, we remember how powerful we actually are, and that these bodies are literally the dwelling place for the soul, the life force. Because, right, like we think of the soul, it can mean whatever based on somebody's filters and religious belief systems. But when you talk about it as life force, it begins to make it more practical, right? Because we all have it, regardless of what people believe, which varies and differs everywhere. I don't know, there isn't really too many that I've spoken with who can deny that there's some kind of force of energy in all of us that knows a lot more about how to function these bodies than we do. And who can deny that, right? And in
100%.
yeah, and but in
Yeah.
that the power, and in traditional Chinese medicine, and even I'm sure it's in modern medicine too, but ancient Chinese medicine, just as well as Ayurveda, all these different countries that had civilizations that lived in harmony with the natural world for tens of thousands of years at a time, some of these dynasties. And so in China, they call it qi, right? The qi is the life force. The jing is the sexual energy. And then the shen is the spirit. So they have those three that they break it into, and they're not separate from each other. They're all connected, but they have different frequencies and different potency of this life force power in it. And when somebody cultivates all of this within themselves, then all of these different frequencies and levels and dimensions of energy all compress, and we become conscious of its compression. And when, just like these churches that are built on all these sacred sites, when you connect the dots and you have all these elements, these natural elements working together, that is what creates frequency, aligned frequency. And when you become conscious of that, our bodies are just like those spires. They are literally, when we become conscious of what it is that is truly happening, the source of power, which is in all of us, we become just like those spires on the church, just like those giant circles that represent the feminine or the yin, all of it working together with itself creates those elevated frequencies. And so here we are doing an improvised meditation. And those who saw it, and Greg and I, we've talked about this. There's no plan. I'm not thinking of anything at all when we do it. I just want to come on here with all of you because you guys are here with us so much and we love you and just go with the flow. So it seems like there's a flow already happening just because of this conversation, you know? So let's get into it and we'll create a greater understanding as we do this meditation. But before we get started, if you have water or you want to get water or juice or something like that to have near you, go ahead and do that because we can charge it up.
And while everyone's doing that really quick, I see you got some instruments there in the background, and that just reminds me of the in-person meditations that you're doing up there in Maine. I know that you took off on a little, not a tangent, but you actually met up with a holistic healer up there. So, I mean,
Just
guys, there are a lot of things going on, and Seth and I, the past week or two, we've been meaning to put together a newsletter, send it out. So that's another reason get on that newsletter. And yeah, what about that EE system that you were in front of? I mean, I've heard about that EE system several years ago, actually through what was her name? I think it's Sandra, or the original inventor, you know, of
yeah,
that.
Michael
And
is the last
Jason
name,
Shirka.
Michael. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So he originally started up Unified Social, then he switched over to like Unified Healing, and he's got all these centers all around the world.
it's
And
amazing.
I guess those are pretty amazing systems. So we'll put that in the newsletter, guys. Anybody up in Maine might want to check that out. That's really cool.
It'd be amazing. Yeah, we could just talk about that nonstop. It's that powerful.
Yeah.
Totally unplanned. It just happened. And Tam, the lady who owns the spa, like we met and we were just like, yup. She didn't even know that I do these meditations. And I got invited down in there because of the water company, the spring water, and it all just clicked. So yeah, people who are in Maine, if you can make it to this, the first one will be the 21st. It's going to be $20 a person for 2 hours in this room that it's all tuned to 528 hertz frequency, which is like this energy of love. And I am very sensitive. And when I went in there, I was like, wow, holy moly. I had to go back again after just to see if I was imagining what happened the first time. And it works. And it's so funny because people are in there, they come out and everybody's face is like glowing a huge smile. And they're like, so doing these meditations in that room is going to be life changing. Oh my gosh.
That's awesome.
So,
I
all
have
right.
yet to get in front of one of those. So, all
Well,
right,
maybe we'll do a retreat up here, huh?
let's
You'll
do
come
it.
out. Okay,
Let's do it.
so just make yourself comfortable. You can sit down, you can lay down, you could even stand up if you want to, but that takes some practice. And really, what we're doing here is getting everybody so focused on building this habit of knowing the life force that we are, that's always with us, regardless if we're thinking about it or feeling it, and to create the habit so that we are conscious of it perpetually without spending too long forgetting about it and going into these downward spirals of stress, sadness, anger, all the stuff that comes when we are not in coherence with the ultimate reality, which, as everybody probably knows who's been here with us, from what we know now, the world, the universe is mostly made up of coherent fields, all interacting with each other, but they need chaos. And there are little bits of strategically placed chaos, like an old star, a white dwarf, or whatever star that's getting ready to end. Some of them cool down and others explode. And the chaos that an exploding star could create from our perspective it's even hard to imagine what it would be like, because it is so much energy just destroying itself all at once. But that chaos is placed where it is for a reason. And as above, so below, when we have these varying emotional reactions or responses, we got to dip into that chaos sometimes, because that allows us to bring balance to all that we are. And all that we are is something so profound. It is this chi, this life force that, as we always say, whether we are awake or asleep, this energy has got it covered. It works without any conscious input from us. And so when we become conscious of that, and we realize that not only is it influencing every single bit of our ability to be alive, it is the reason why we can perceive reality. Without that, there would be nothing. But it's there. And the more we open up to that, the more we get in tune with it in our bodies, the more we begin to learn that we can actually influence what it is that is allowing us to be in these bodies and perceive reality the way we do. And in doing that, I always say it is the most important relationship of my life. There isn't anything external to this relationship of this internal life force that matters more. And that's very contrary to what many believe and perceive in the world around us. And so to entertain this and to become aware of it, it feels like we're going against the flow of our own species. And in many ways, we are. But going against that flow means that we are supported by the most predominant forces of the ground we are on, of all these different star systems all around us. When you consciously get in tune with yourself, when you slow your breathing down, like 5 seconds on the inhale, 5 seconds on the exhale, when you do that enough and you create a habit of doing it, even if it's only 5 minutes a day, if you made a commitment to just slowing your breathing down for 5 minutes every day, after a month, you'd realize that you naturally prefer to breathe slower because your heart rate lowers. Your entire nervous system sends messages to all of the frequencies of all the glands and organs in our body and tells them they can chill out. Because when we are in coherence with our very life force, that life force is systemic throughout every part of our body. And it's also systemic all around us. But it's hard to know that when we haven't created a perpetual state of knowing our relationship to this life force. So this slow, exaggerated breathing, that not only is it slower, but it's also deeper. Without much force, you're allowing your lungs to fill up with more air. The breath of life. That is where this beyond intelligent life force that is causing the heart to beat, where and when we breathe is where we meet the external world. And when we don't have solid habits of sustaining what it feels like to have your heart and brain communicating to each other regularly, naturally, like they do, when we are not projecting the hormones of stress to that natural communication process between the heart and the brain. And so the heart and the brain are as powerful as could be. And their relationship sets the tone and builds the foundation for a solid marriage, a solid union from what we are that filters all throughout who we are, our sense of self, our human identity, our thoughts, beliefs, behaviors, actions. All of that is the way it is, no matter if we learned it from others in the world or not. Even if we're so socially indoctrinated that we don't know that we know anything beyond that. It doesn't matter. We can take all of our pain, all of our trauma, all of our social indoctrination, and we can consciously make a choice to engage all of that with all of this internal communication that's happening, so that we're allowed to even perceive any of this. And so when the heart and brain become synchronized and you start to feel what that is like, you're not projecting the hormones of stress at it. You simply are just observing what is happening in your own body when the part of you that is, or that believes it's disconnected from all this, is surrendered. When we surrender that socially indoctrinated self, all the institutional conditioning, when we surrender that in us, simply by relaxing, by breathing slower and deeper. And then the most important part is that inner smile. When you intentionally put that smile on your face, it immediately makes you feel so much better. But also, when your heart and brain are in coherence and you are simply observing it without projecting any of your stress at it, the feeling of it is so powerful that you'll start to smile anyway. And so here we are in such a powerful place, building the foundation of these sacred temples that are our body. It doesn't matter what race, color, creed, religion, political persuasion, none of that matters, because we are all predominantly made up of this same life force. Yes, it gets molded in different ways. But if you were to generalize the 8 billion people on this planet now, in this world, this realm, this life force is pretty much doing the same thing to everybody that it's doing in us. And that very simply allows an individual to understand through common sense that we all have a lot more in common than our differences. If everybody began to take responsibility for how they perceive reality, for how they perceive this frequency of infinite intelligence that again is working, whether we are awake or asleep, when we trust that energy in us, not only does it work and become concentrated in our body because we're focusing on it, we are taking the light of our awareness and we are focusing on the actual fabric of the life force itself. And when done regularly, we amplify that power in and around our being. And so when the heart and brain are having a great conversation between themselves, all these other parts of your body start to get synchronized to this truly realistic and authentic communication. So many people believe that the way we communicate with each other all over this world and the technology is so impressive. People believe it's so important. But even with all of that going on, the real means of communication with the information that is truly vital, that begins with how well these bodies are conductors for that energy to grow, to become magnified and get stronger. And as that life force becomes stronger, it begins to concentrate. And then all of the veins and plexus centers and all these different parts of our body, the amplitude for the natural bioelectricity that we really are. Our body and all of our veins, when we focus the way we are upping the amplitude for their energy receiving and emissions. And there's really no limit to how powerful that can be. And so we're in a world that has become very toxic. Very few are in denial about that. And it's pretty easy to see. And really, we're seeing toxicity on pretty much every level, all caused from the way we live with what's called the Industrial Revolution. People have so much faith and belief in that nature is hardly an afterthought for most people. But with a toxic world comes the responsibility to detoxify it so that we can return to a state of being where we are in harmony with our own inner nature And then suddenly the natural world becomes a clear and obvious extension of this inner nature that is empowered, amplified, and with every beat of our heart, it pulses through every cell of our body, throughout all the vapor and gases of water that is literally coming off all of our skin. When we concentrate this life force within us, our bodies become stronger. They become healthier as a result of having amplified life force. And when that is prioritized, our bodies naturally detoxify themselves, because all of the issues that we face, health, mental, emotional, physical, energy, all of that comes from blockages within ourselves. Like we forgot what we are. We forgot this literal miracle that it's communicating with itself at all times in our body, regardless if we're paying attention to it or not. But everything is energy. We are energy. And when our energy, our life force is amplified, we have the strength for our bodies to detoxify themselves. And when enough of us do that individually, personally, then others realize that they too can do this. And so it's a renaissance of revolution, health revolution, but it's actually healthy evolution. And it doesn't crawl at a snail's pace like we've been taught to believe. It can jump immediately throughout infinity, throughout countless layers, levels, and dimensions of reality. And the more we become conscious of that, the more all of that, all of those different layers begin to condense in our perception of self and a unified awareness of how we truly all are connected throughout every part of our being, and how every part of these bodies is connected to all of these external coherent fields that just from the planet beneath our feet can be ecstatic when you really connect to it, where you feel so excited to be a participant in this life. Because when your life force gets amplified, because you're creating the conditions or the environment within you for it to happen. Hope comes back. You feel reinvigorated, and you decide that you're ready to direct your focus on not only sustaining these states of heart and brain, whole body, whole soul, or life force, when all of that is in coherence with itself, and you remember how powerful you are, then you've acquired the strength or that energy that's already doing everything for us. And now, with that amplified state of being, that energy will push toxins out of our bodies. It will process blockages inside of us and open them up. And that's just where it begins, because it's not just in our body, it is all around it. And when you become so in tune and in harmony with it inside of you, you literally create a field, a bioelectromagnetic field that deflects all the things around us that most don't want to focus on because they feel so helpless. So put that inner smile on and listen to this meditation as much as you can. And I promise you, if you keep doing this, you will have been long on your way to creating the concentration of this life force that is bound to your awareness of it. And when you are committed to becoming aware of all of this, the coherence of it all begins to happen naturally. And it's got our attention. So we keep focusing on it. And not only does healing start to happen, but again, we deflect everything that we have feared or rejected or not known how to deal with. So practice this and even simplify it in your own way. There's no way to mess this up. You already are it, and it is all of you. All you got to do is create the space to be aware of what you already are and to create that internal alignment. And that allows you to be able to concentrate this energy because it's magnified by your awareness of it and feeling it pulse through every cell in your body with every beat of your heart and your beautiful inner smile, to feel immense gratitude for it, because this is more than a once in a lifetime experience. This is one of many lifetimes. Most are so out of touch with this, and it doesn't make any sense because this is all there is. And it's only an illusion that causes us to believe we're disconnected from it, and we're not. And when you take this focus and you focus on it within you, and you create this foundation of coherence, and you make a habit of sustaining it, you literally begin to clean up the energy of this world when you are ready to. So wherever your water or juice or your drink, see if you can feel the feeling of all this coherence with your inner smile, and feel what your heart field and your brain field are imprinting into the water. That water becomes an ally that amplifies all this energy and moves it precisely where your body needs it when you are in touch with it, in coherence. And again, revisit this. Be the steward of your soul, of your life force, and watch your inner environment thrive. And when you're ready, take your hands and rub them together vigorously to create heat. And when your hands are nice and hot, put the palms of your hands over your eyes and see if you see or sense or feel anything in the darkness. It's okay if you don't. We'll explain more about this part and why I always have everybody rub their hands together. You activate all these other senses in you. So, all right, you guys know what to do. Like, love, tag, share, help us get the word out there. We're looking for that millionth monkey. And join me, Laura, at Raquel, and whoever else shows up. Yep, Greg's got the QR code right there.
I sent the
Awesome.
link in the chat, guys, but you can also click on that QR code right there. We are joining in about 4 minutes immediately after this.
Yep.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for attending. Thank you, Seth, as usual.
Yeah. Thank you, Greg.
And everybody have a great week. Bye
Yep.
bye.